Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Mysticall. Welcome back to my 8.3 Mistweaver Monk PvP guide, where today, finally, we're going to be talking about essences. I apologize for not releasing it sooner. I just wanted to make sure I did enough testing, enough games, where I wasn't giving anyone the incorrect information. But I feel like I've played enough games to know what the best essences are in what situation. And what you're going to be getting from this video is pretty much when to use majors, when to use minors, best setups for certain comps, and we're going to jump right into it. So we're going to break this video into two different parts. The first part is going to be 2v2, and the second part is going to be 3v3. So the 2v2 part is actually pretty easy. This is what you're going to be using in every single twos game. This setup exactly, and I'll tell you why. Crucible Flame, very important. Twos is definitely based around damage. If you do more damage, you're going to make the other healer spend more mana. They're going to much faster than you, and that's why Crucible Flame is so good. You also have the option to heal with it, but I don't use it to heal ever, pretty much. It's very, very good for just doing damage, getting dispels out from the enemy healer in case you're running Maledics, or if you have the on-use PvE trinket, and then you can use it when their dispel is on cooldown. So again, very important for Crucible Flame. And one small tip for anyone that's using Crucible Flame: start the arena by pressing on yourself, because you're gonna be able to maximize your damage. When you get 2 charges back, you're gonna be able to shoot a 2-charge Crucible Flame into, or a 1 charge into a 2 charge. Very important, especially versus teams that can purge your dots or your buffs. It's very important that you just shoot yourself, line the purge, and then do a 1 stacker into a 2 stacker, maximize your damage output. Very important. And then as far as minors go, Lifebinder's Invocation. This is a solid, I believe this is a game. Let me see. I have games. I definitely have games where I can show you the healing breakdown. Runes of Lordaeron. That was a short game, 5 minutes. All right, so we're going to do a 7-minute game. All right, we're going to do a 7-minute game. Well, I'm going to show you the breakdown. So this is long-term, the breakdown of these essences. This is a 2v2 of, I believe this is me playing, yeah, this is Mistweaver Arms Warrior versus Survival Hunter Resto Druid. All right, so that's the matchup right now. This is the healing. Oh, whoa, I didn't even know you could do that. That's cool. All right, so this is the healing breakdown of it all. Now, the Lifebinder's Invocation, the minor for it right here, Seas of ENR, expected to be about 5% healing every single game. It's basically a default. Even for threes, Lifebinder's Invocation is a default choice. So I would highly recommend that. It's just 5% healing. Conflict and Strife is good for reducing damage on the minor, at least is good for reducing damage on you and increasing your damage a little bit because of the increased in versatility. What it does is every time you put into crowd control, or if you get slowed, you get 1 stack of Strife. And what Strife does is it gives you a versatility buff, and it stacks up to 8 up to a maximum. I don't know what it does. 8 times 4, so you get 400 versatility, pretty much, roughly 450 versatility on top of what you already have. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for people to kill you, but it also reduces damage you take and increases damage you do, because abilities like Concentrated Flame is affected by versatility. And finally, we have Vitality Conduit. It's just good. Like, again, let me see if I can get a game. Maybe it's a little shorter, more realistic game. Like, we got Robodome here. This is my healing done, and you can see Vitality Conduit. I mean, 7% of my healing. So if you combine Vitality Conduit with Seed of ENR, that is what, almost 12% of my healing. 12%, and I don't even think about it. Like, I don't even give these traits an extra thought. So again, this is your go-to for twos. One other small thing about Lifebinder's Invocation is the little dot that goes on your teammate, which is Seed of ENR. It can be purged, so it does give you a little bit of purge protection versus maybe Resto Shaman and Shadow Priest. Not a lot, but you know, any little bit helps. You know, but again, for twos, this is your setup every game. I haven't swapped out it, not one time in twos, so definitely do this setup. All right, so for 3v3, I'm going to run through all of these and tell you which majors are the most important to get. There are a lot, and I'm sure some of you will come back to the game or swap and all, so I don't want you to think you have to farm all these, because you don't. I can give you the top 4 essences that I run, majors. The first one is Conflict and Strife, and you play this versus teams that you think are going to train you. Primarily Rogue Mage Holy Pally. It is very good versus this, because they can swap you any time. Now, the reason why it's so good, if you look at the 3rd paragraph down, or the second paragraph where it says, while you are stunned, the defensive benefit from your versatility is doubled. And what that means is if you hover over your versatility, it increases damage and healing done to you, which we know, but it also decreases damage taken by X amount, minus 8.25%. Now, if I get stunned and I'm using Conflict and Strife Major, that's going to double to 16.5% damage reduction while I'm stunned. Every time you're stunned, you're going to have 16% less damage dealt to you, which is absolutely insane. On top of that, you also get the minor benefit from it. So again, you're going to be not unkillable, I can tell you from experience, but extremely difficult to kill. Now, it does give you Way of the Crane Major or Way of the Crane ability that you really shouldn't be using that often. You can use it maybe if you're very close to getting a kill and the mage doesn't have Ice Block. You can definitely use it then, but you don't want to lose on mana because you use Crane too much. So again, versus Rogue Mage Holy Paladin, I think Conflict and Strife Major is very good. The other major, Memory of Lucid Dream, good versus Demon Hunters. Just so you can stay alive or keep your mana high throughout the match. It also gives you a versatility buff and heals you, the minor, which is Lucid Dreams. So again, versatility is one of our best stats to have. So Memory of Lucid Dream is also a very solid major. Vitality Conduit versus teams with single target damage. And if you're playing a comp that doesn't die easily and it has a lot of self-healing. So for example, if I'm playing TSG with a warrior DK, and I will be using Vitality Conduit versus single target teams like Rogue Mage, Holy or Disc Priest, you know, single target damage, because if I put out my warrior, my Death Knight can just heal to full, you know, because what it does is if I put it on my warrior, it's going to siphon life from my Death Knight. So if I put it on my warrior and my Death Knight starts taking damage, he can just heal up. I don't even need to worry about him because he'll heal up just fine, and so my warrior. The amount of healing this does is insane. Now, if you're playing, you know, if your team is Rogue Mage and you put it on your Rogue and it's siphoning life away from your mage is going to just die, just going to absolutely flop. So again, use this versus enemy teams that do single target damage, but at the same time, your team needs to have some kind of self-healing so they can the teammate that gets the life siphoned from them can heal up and recover. And then the only other major I think I use is Crucible Flame. This is a flexible major. If you want it, you can do damage or healing with it. I use it primarily versus MLD to do damage. So, or healing while you're locked out, just because there's two lockouts that they have. They have Counterspell, and they also have the Warlock Kick from the pet. So, if you get locked out, you can use this while healing. The dot is also pretty good. I don't think I have any games where I have. Actually, there should be. Ancient Flame is the hot, and it's okay. The healing's okay. It's not, you know, huge, but it's still a good amount of healing. And those are the four majors. So again, Conflict and Strife major versus teams that are going to kill you. Memory of Lucid Dreams versus teams where you're going to run out of mana, and for versatility, primarily Demon Hunter teams. Crucible Flame versus MLD or teams where you want to have the flexibility of doing damage or healing. And then Vitality Conduit for single target healing. And that's what those are the four best majors that I've found. And we could talk about the minors now. Honestly, the minors are pretty much just a rotation between those four. If I'm playing Crucible Flame, I'm playing these four minors. The only flexible one is if you're playing against a team where you think you're not going to die, but you want the damage, you could play Everrising Tide for the mana. It does do quite a bit of mana regeneration. It's not significant, but you will get it throughout the match. But again, Vitality Conduit minor is great. I basically never swap out these two ever. This is easily 12% of your healing throughout a threes match. It's crazy. And then, yeah, I'll swap this with the Conflict if something's going me, or if I want the extra versatility. But yeah, that's pretty much, I can go through all of these again. This is useless. This is useless. Useless. Vitality Conduit, good for single target healing. If you're not using it as a major, use it as a minor. Vision of Perfection is only good versus Shadow Priests. So if you're playing against a Shadow Priest, the Dispel was buffed in 8.3 recently. So it's pretty good. I've tested a few times. It's not bad. Obviously, it's random, so there's some games where it's proccing a lot, sometimes it's not. So if you want to gamble it, you can gamble it. Versus Shadow Priest Destrolock, I'd potentially play it just to dispel the dots and potentially fear and Hodge on you if they're playing with the Holy Pally. Something like that is pretty good. Well of Existence, never use. Everrising Tide, don't really ever use. Artifice of Time, never used. It looks good, but it's just not good. Worldvine Resonance, never use. Crucible Flame, only as a major talent versus MLD. Ripple in Space, I felt like Ripple in Space was good, but it's not good anymore. The games are too fast. I would rather have Conflict and Strife Major if a team was training me to the ground. Memory of Lucid Dream, good versus Demon Hunters. So or Walking Dead, if you think teams are going to you down. But I think versus Walking Dead, Conflict and Strife is better. Lifebinder's Invocation, only good for a minor. And then Conflict and Strife, good versus teams that are going to train you. If you're not using as a major, use as a minor. So actually, since I'm going through this list, the only 4 essences you need are Crucible Flame, Lifebinder's Invocation, Conflict and Strife, and Vitality Conduit for both 2s and 3s. The only other one is Vision of Perfection. That's good versus Shadow Priest. And that's pretty much it. So here's the TLDR for major essences and just essences in general. This is what you should be playing in 2s. In 3s, you should play Conflict and Strife versus Arm Pally or teams that you think are going to be focusing most of the time. If you're playing Conflict and Strife, normally I'll play Vitality Conduit, Lifebinder's Invocation Minor, and then Crucible Flame Minor. If you're playing against teams like Demon Hunter teams that are just going to try to win on mana, you can play this. If they are going to go you, which is probably going to be likely if the Demon Hunter is going you, you can play this. This normally is set up. Very good for conserving mana. Versus MLD, this is the setup. You could also play for extra healing. No, this should be fine. Yeah, because you get the hop from this. Yeah, so this is if you're playing MLD, because they can potentially swap to you in a bash, so, or even like a mortar coil. So the extra versatility is very good from this. And then if you're playing against pretty much anything single target, I went to the cooldowns down on Concentrated Flame. But if you're playing against anything that's single target damage and you're playing a comp that is very good at sustaining, very good self-healing, play Vitality Conduit, and then you can play Crucible Flame Minor for the extra hot. And then in the rare case that you actually queue into a Shadow Priest, you can play Vision of Perfection and play this. If you want the extra hot, that's fine, but I think Vitality Conduit is way better as far as healing output. And that is pretty much it for Essences, team. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. But that's all I got for Essences. Have a fantastic rest of your day. As always, if you have questions, let me know, and I'll see you later.